That guy's a killer. He shot a man 7 times in the back, point blank range, Johnson. Jacob Blake in Wisconsin, who was shot by an officer 7 times in the back while he was entering his vehicle. Well, there's been an update. He recently appeared on the Good Morning America show, and he discussed the shooting and discussed what happened to him. And kind of hard to watch or listen to, but here goes.
Be the next George Floyd. I didn't want to die.
It was August 23rd, and Blake was at the house of LaQuisha Booker, the mother of 3 of his children. They were celebrating their son Israel's 8th birthday when an argument broke out between Booker and a neighbor.
So I just wanted to get them, I wanted to leave. My son is inside. Tears was coming out of his eyes. He said, "Daddy, you sure it's my birthday?" I'm like, yeah, you know, I was like, I'm taking him to the store again, make him forget about all this.
As Blake prepares to leave, Booker calls police.
I'm willing to take that risk. Emergency. Yes, I need the officer. Jacob Blake is here, and he has the keys to a rental that I purchased that I need to take back, and he's not trying to release it.
Police respond to a, quote, family trouble. They're told there's a warrant for Blake on domestic violence offenses and sexual assault.
What are you doing when they show up?
At that time, I'm walking out. I hadn't done anything, so I didn't feel like they were there for me.
Blake proceeds to put one of his sons in the car, and that's when he says he felt someone grab his arm.
I took my arm away in a human reaction. After I did that, I realized that it was the police, and it's like, uh-oh.
Police. So why didn't he just stop and do what the police are asking him to do?
I couldn't hear that. All I heard was screaming. My ears was ringing, so it was all muffled.
If the police were fighting me, if they were tasing me, I would stop walking away from them, and they would have my attention.
I mean, I had not left or tried to run at that point. That when they tased me, I had my hands up.
Officer Shesky's attorney says Blake was given every opportunity to comply, but he chose not to.
Well, you know, there wasn't too much in this interview that I didn't already know about from reading the story to begin with, but I will say this, guys. It is, it's a shame that the way that the police respond to a situation, even when there's multiple police officers on scene, is to shoot you 7 times in the back. That's how they resolve issues. And I know, of course there'll be people that, oh, well, it should have just complied, as Singleton was saying. You should have just complied. Well, here's the thing, guys. Sometimes people don't. That doesn't mean you get to die because you didn't listen. I've shown you videos of guys not listening, and they go home just fine. They tend to be white guys, but white guys like the ones that went in the Capitol. They go home just fine, Johnson. It's because it's all relative, because it's all based on how the cop felt. If the cop felt, oh, I'm scared for my life, Johnson, I'm afraid this guy has his back to me, and he's gonna stab me because he has his back to me. Did he have the knife sticking out of his back? I don't know how that even works. How you even make that claim that this guy was a threat if his back is to you. But we had this conversation before. At the end of the day, there's some people that see black people as a threat no matter what position they're in. Whether they're running away or standing away or stooping away or sleeping in their beds or walking their kids or eating McDonald's or sitting in the drive-thru or whatever they're doing, like whatever, just being black. There you go, being black again. What if I told you about being black? Pow, 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 pow. They shot Laquan McDonald 15 times. 15 times. 10 of which while he laid on the ground. And there was still some supporters who said it was justified. So, of course, they're going to justify this. I mean, you shoot a guy 15 times. hey, what the hell, you know? 7 seems like a bargain. When people say defunding the police is impossible, and people say changing how we police in America is impossible, I want to remind you that if rich white people died at the rate that poor black people die, this thing would be a wrap. If rich white people died at the rate that indigenous people die at the hand of cops, this thing would be a wrap. It'd be over so quick. There would be it wouldn't even be a police force anymore. It'd be public servants with walkie-talkies and batons and crossing guards departments of America, or something like that. There would be no more police departments. You start shooting Katie Couric's kids, or the Trump kids, or let them be in fear of their lives. Let you have an accidental shooting, an accidental, Breonna Taylor situation, a no-knock warrant, and you shoot Warren Buffett's second niece. It'd be a fucking wrap. Only place you'd see a police officer in a museum. Be it. They'd be writing it in the history books. 100 years from now, I'd be like, hey, once upon a time back in the 20th century, in the 21st century, there was this thing called policing. What? Police? Yeah, back in the day. 200 years ago, you used to have these people called police. They used to wear badges, and they were very abusive. Many of them were racists and Nazis. Some of them were Trump supporters. And then they wiped it all out, and we got a new system and got rid of them all. We burnt all of the police departments to the ground, and we created these new institutions. The new thing we came up with. Oh, God, I'm so glad I wasn't born back then. Yeah, it was terrible. They were beating up blacks like hotcakes and killing them in the streets. They'd water hose indigenous people on their own land, fighting pipelines from coming through, water hose them at below freezing weathers and shoot cold water on them anyway for just standing there. We appreciate you. Tony DeMeo says police officers get less training than barbers, Johnson. It's not gonna fly, Johnson. What's it Chris Rock said? Some jobs, everybody gotta be good. Isn't that what he said? Some jobs, everybody gotta be good. It's like pilots. How many people would fly if their motto was, well, most of the time our pilots land? This ain't even about training, man. He shot a man 7 times in the back. That guy's a killer. Yeah, you don't need to be trained not to be a killer, Johnson. That guy's a killer. He shot a man 7 times in the back, point blank range, Johnson. Now, there's times you can shoot a person 7 times in the back. Someone who's holding a sword. He's got a sword, you duck, he misses, the momentum from his swing turns him all the way around 180 degrees, and now, rat-a-tat-tat. And no one would be upset. So no, Johnson, no. But if you shoot somebody 7 times in the back, there's no training class. I've gotten rescue dogs before, but no one had to tell me, hey, Tim Black, don't put the dogs in the oven, man. Because I'm not a sadistic dog torturing mofo, you understand? So no, you don't need to tell a cop, don't shoot a man or woman in the back 7 times. Except for the reasons I explained earlier. Let me ask you something. Do they know us? When I say they, I mean the talking heads on cable news. Do they know you? I mean, they talk about the world as if it's a sport. They play political games, report on our pain, rack our brain to feed the stock exchange, but do they know us? Do they know what we care about? Nope. They're too far away. They can't see us. They can't feel us. They can't relate to us. See, when you want to know what's going on in your world, trust someone who lives in your world. Subscribe.